Good evening, everybody. This is Montolio here, and we are here for the Classic Quarter Qualifier number 2, round 5, and my opponent is the Wolf, who is playing Affinity. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, I am playing Stacks. And yeah, the Wolf is a familiar opponent to me with this deck. We've played many times and kind of had back and forth match wins and losses. And yeah, I mean, essentially this deck, the whole purpose of it is to belch out its hand full of little creatures as fast as it can and lock you down with cards like Tangle Wire. So the keys to this deck are Skull Clamp. It makes all his little critters extremely dangerous because he can get a ton of card draw going, and of course he's got lots of utility creatures like Archibald Ravager and Steel Overseer here, which is very good, and of course he's got his Brutes and Lodestone. So the premise of this deck is extremely fast. I also see that he's made some changes to his sideboard here specifically for this match in the Phyrexian Metamorphs, so he can get my Wormcoil engines and some of my big guys, which is something we should pay attention to. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll take a quick look at my and look at my deck. The strengths of my deck are based upon Null Rod, which is extremely powerful against his build. Of course, I've got some of the bigger guys here. I've got Wormcoil engines and Metamorphs and my Lodestones. Crucible of Worlds also, depending on the type of draw he has, could be very good against him because I can recur my lands as well as destroy his with Wastelands and Strip Mine. Duplicant is typically a card I do not like in this matchup. However, in light of the fact that he has the 4 Metamorphs in the sideboard, this could be a good trump card against him for him getting my Wormcoils, etc. And of course, a card that I absolutely love in the match is Chalice of the Void if it's drawn at the right time, because it can shut off his setting it at 0 is powerful because it shuts off all his Memnites, and 1 shuts off his Signal Pests, more importantly Skull Clamp, and setting it at 2 is pretty much good game as well if I can get those 3 out. And Trinisphere is also powerful. Spheres of Resistance Thorns are not that great against him, but once again with the right type of hands it can be good. Sideboard we're pretty solid. We've got a Triskelion, we've got a Wormcoil, and I did forget to mention my 1 main deck Precursor. I've also got one on the sideboard which is just awesome against him. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Typically die roll is extremely important in these matches, and being able to win the first game is also important because you don't want to be going second in the game 3 if we can get there. So let's see how we Okay, so here we are, and we got a big die roll. So that is important. Now let's hope for a great opener. And unfortunately that is not a great opener for us. If one of these was a Workshop or a Sol land, we would be so solid. But I think we keep it. We just lead out with a Chalice at 0 on a factory, and the following turn we will set a Revoker if he gets a Skull Clamp or something going. And if he plays a Mishra's Workshop or something, then we will nuke that. So no, we're going to keep this. Not a powerful hand for us, but let's see what happens. Makes me feel a little bit skittish, but hoping I had a little bit better lands in my hand. But and I mean, Duplicant is almost like a mulligan in itself where our hand stands now. Okay, it's Skull Clamp, which is fine. Okay, well this is good for us. Oh, very nice. Would have liked to have that last turn. So I just think we get a factory down here, and I think we just revoke that. So this is kind of what we were envisioning when we kept this kind of hand, is being able to get some good value out of our Revoker, and hopefully we shut him on chalices here a little bit. And of course, hopefully he doesn't get a, into a lodestone golem or something here. So let's see what he does. We are definitely going to need some help. Okay. Okay, solving. It's a pretty good play. And Steel Overseer is definitely a dangerous card. Okay. I mean, we've got to kind of try and ramp ourselves up here to stop this thing. He does have a Sol Ring, so he's got mana, but do we just keep him off the big mana? I think what we do is we just play a port here and tap down his tomb and try and ramp ourselves into a position where we can get some get towards a duplicate here. Because our key to our victory here is going to be able to get up into some of our big creatures to stop him. Okay, so he seems to have lots of mana in hand. Okay. Okay, Lodestone Golem is actually a really good card for us to draw. It comes at the peril of him casting something big with that Ancient Tomb, but I do think we just go for it here. Try and get this thing up. Nice play by him. The good news is we've got that Wasteland. And we'll take his factory away. Alright, so Signal Pest is a pretty good one as well here. So what we need to do now is we actually have to really try and get up into a Worm Coil Engine here. Duplicant is actually very, very good for us here. I think I am going to duplicate his Overseer here. And then the following turn I will Wasteland him. I think that's what I've got to do. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yep. Now I believe my duplicant will be a 1/1 when this is said and done. But we got to take away that Overseer. Can't have that there. I don't believe the tokens are static. I think they go away once I remove them. So I'm almost sure my duplicant will be a 1/1, but it'd be kind of cool if he becomes a 3/3. This would make this trade-off far better for me. And hopefully what Wolf has in his hands is just 2/0/0 2 0 casting cost spells. Okay, so he's pumping up his guy here, and he doesn't know we have a wasteland in hand. Yeah, so he becomes a 1/1, and we're going to pound in for 5 here. Now, this may seem like a bad race for us, but we're only really going to take the 1 hit off the factory because, of course, we've got the wasteland. The bad news out of that is we lose our city of traders, which helps us ramp into our big guys, but okay. So no play there. All right, so I think what we do here is I'm actually going to pump my factory with the city. And we're just going to plow in here. Yeah, actually, I don't even think really casting. I mean, as a sphere of resistance just sets us farther back. I really don't think it's worth doing. But we are going to go with these 2 guys, which is going to put him down pretty low. I was contemplating, do I attack with my Revoker there? That's what I was thinking about. And we're going to plunk ourselves for 2 damage here, tap down one of his tombs. Actually, I don't even know if it's worth doing that. Is it? Maybe it is. Strip mine's a good one. Oh, that's fine. Okay. That's a pretty good draw, too. Well, he has to block my lodestone. He doesn't have a choice. So I plunk him for 3. Put a lot of pressure on him here. The factory. And I guess we'll play that. There's no reason not to, and we'll tap down one of his tombs. And I would suspect this would be enough to win this game. Alright, so there we are. We are 1 game up. So my tactic for this game here is basically I'm taking out all of my spheres. I've left myself a sphere of resistance, and I very well could side that out as well for a Caracas or something of that lines. But basically I brought in a Pithing Needle, which is a do-it-all against his deck. I can name Ravager, I can name Overseer, Skull Clamp, that sort of thing. Null Rods are obviously amazing. I've brought in an extra Crucible of Worlds more as a protection mechanism against him, as well as being able to recur things like factories, wastelands. And I brought in a Triskelion, deals damage. I can obviously metamorph these. I've got an extra Precursor Golem. Believe it or not, I did bring in an extra Duplicant because he has those metamorphs. One of the problems with the metamorphs and the Duplicant is I don't actually get to steal the creature with a metamorph because it's a 0/0 once it's removed, but still it can remove some of his big guys, and of course I brought in another Wormcoil. So let's see how it goes, and we'll go from here. Well, I have to admit, this is one of the absolute best hands we could possibly have. So let's hope he does not explode first, right off the beginning here. He's mulliganed, which is great. He seems to be thinking relatively hard about whether he wants to keep his hand or not. So I think my line of thinking here is, barring he explodes on me, I'm probably going to lead out with a Crucible of Worlds. Skull Clamp. Okay, so this play here is absolutely worth hitting his Skull Clamp with a Null Rod. Now, I can play my Crucible of Worlds next turn. I mean, I could use a Revoker here, but the Revokers can get hit by a, what's that card called? The -5/-5 instant. Just drawing a blank. Dismember, excuse me. And we don't want to put ourselves at risk for that. Null Rod is a very powerful card in this instance. So what we would like to see now is a Wasteland from our side. That is. Shutting off his Skull Clamp here was a really powerful play. Okay. So, you know, Genesis Chamber just isn't going to do much against us without having a Skull Clamp. So, yeah, I think we just cut straight to the chase here and get a Worm Coil into play. Actually, you know what we could do, which is a pretty good play, is I think we play out a Lodestone Golem first. My reason for doing that is, if he's got a Revoker, I think he's desperate enough that, or not a Revoker, a Metamorph, I think he's desperate enough that he'd copy it. So let's do that. And I guess we'll just play out a Revoker here. There's not much a Revoker can actually name. Has extra insurance, and we'll just chill out here. Yeah, this is the power of Null Rod. Okay. I don't see any reason to sit back at all. We will just attack him. Interesting. Okay, pump up your Lodestone there. I think that's perfectly reasonable. So here breeds the question now. I think what I'm going to do is play out a Crucible. And we're powering out creatures. So hopefully he's run out of steam. Now I'm wondering if the Wolf is sandbagging a Metamorph here. I mean, he very well could be. But let's plow in and see how she goes. So the question now is, do we get a Worm Coil engine? into play. I'm very much scared of seeing a Worm Coil. Now what happens if I play a Worm Coil? He can kill mine. I still think he dies. Let's see. Now Wolf's a smart player. He's got it or he doesn't. Nice, we got it done, guys. All right.